comics. Your next comic is a very funny guy. You've seen him on a Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson. Give it up for Brian McKim, everybody.
25 years ago, I decided to make my living by standing in front of a room full of strangers and making them laugh. For 2 years, I was a stripper. I broke down on my way to the club. Car works fine. I just pulled over the side of the road and cried like a baby for 5-10 minutes. From here, I go to Texas. I love to perform in Texas. I like to go to Texas for personal reasons as well. I get a chance to visit my son when I go to Texas. I have a 3-year-old son. It's not something I like to talk about. Typical story down there performing a few years ago. Met a nice young lady after the show. We had a few drinks. Things got a little crazy. We adopted the little bugger. But I don't drink anymore. At least not in Texas. Not without an attorney at my side. But I'm a modern man. You're looking at a modern man. I do all the shopping, I do all the cooking. As for the housework, I whack that right down the middle, 50-50. Of course, I live alone, so only half of it gets done. Actually, I have a woman come in once a week. Actually, she comes in once every 2 weeks. Actually, I clean up, but I dress like a woman. And I pass the savings on to you. Actually, I'm married. I have a wife. I have a spouse. She's a woman. She's a rescue. I don't like that word wife. It gives me the willies. So I introduced her as my ex-girlfriend, pretty much the same thing. You married men might want to try that at home. Especially if you're tired of living at home. My wife was complaining the other day, as wives will sometimes do. She said, why does your dirty underwear always end up on the floor? I said, gravity. This is a good thing. Believe me, you do not want to live in a world where my dirty underwear ends up on the ceiling. She bought a pair of jeans the other day. She brought them home. She tried them on. She asked me that question. She said, do these jeans make my butt look big? I said, no. But they make everything else look small. I should have stopped at no. If I have any marital advice, it's stop at no. My wife and I just celebrated 25 years of marriage. Thank you. People ask me, how do you stay married to the same woman for 25 years? The answer is simple. I lost complete track of time. Did you ever get in your car and turn the key and head for your destination, all of a sudden, boom, you're there. You say, how did that happen? That's my 25 years of marriage. At least nobody got hurt. I try to use anniversary, the wedding anniversary, the same way other people use New Year's. I try to make a resolution. This time I resolved that I will never shop for Valentine's Day at the dollar store. If you shop for Valentine's Day at the dollar store, the terrorists have won. My wife shopped for me in Sky Mall. She bought me the world's greatest nose hair trimmer. Now I have all the pressure of trying to grow the world's greatest nose hair. People don't believe me. Say, hey, if you're married, how come you're not wearing that ring? Well, the simple fact of the matter is I never have been able to wear jewelry. I saw no reason to start just because I got married. A lot of you still don't believe me. Say, hey, you're married, you're not wearing that ring, you're just doing that so you can pick up babes. Well, the simple fact of the matter is I never have been able to pick up babes. I saw no reason to start that. I walked into the living room the other day. My wife said, why do you have that awful look on your face? I said, my foot's asleep. She said, why do you have that awful look on your face? Some of you will get these jokes on the way home. If you're walking. She's very intelligent. She has a PhD in psychology. Actually, it's a DHP in reverse psychology. But doing something new recently, I've been performing on cruise ships. It's taking some getting used to. Anybody here cruise? Say yes. Yes. My first time on board one of these massive vessels, I went up to my cabin. I took a shower. I fell in the shower. I did not get hurt, however, because I only got this far. It's one of those safety showers, I believe. Thought it was very kind of them to put that in there. We sailed into St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. Beautiful port. Don't know if you've been there or not. Big green mountains everywhere you look. Lady standing behind me on the deck looks up at the mountains and says, "Look at those mountains. I wonder what elevation we're at." Pretty sure we're at sea level, madam. Unless the captain's taking a horrible turn in the middle of the night, we're now on Lake Titicaca. Sea level it is. Later on, the same one was on one of those eco tours. She hears the guide say that we're in danger of losing the sea turtle. She said, "Oh my God, we've already lost the A turtle and the B turtle." Good news is you don't have to take a test to get on the boat. If I have any complaints about these beautiful vessels, it's that the internet is so painfully slow. You people who sail, you know. Give you an example. 2 weeks ago, I was on board one of these ships. I got off stage. I figured I'd check the news. I hopped on my computer, went on to yahoo.com, found out that Ronald Reagan had been reelected to a second term. Saw a sign in Mexico. It said, professional body piercing. That's important, professional body piercing. I went to an amateur body piercing once. Well, he came to me. All right, I got stabbed. Be careful out there, that's all I'm saying. Sailed into Grand Cayman Island and then on to Cozumel, Mexico. I don't think you can get two more different places than Grand Cayman and Cozumel. Grand Cayman's all quiet and classy and boring. Cozumel's all loud and crazy and drunk. You go shopping in Cayman and you buy designer clothes. You go shopping in Cozumel and you buy burlap ponchos with the Corona logo on the front. It's a different ball game performing comedy on a cruise ship. Sometimes there are children in the audience. And I like having children in the audience. I mean, sometimes. The cabin I get does not have a porthole, no window, nothing. I close that door, it's kind of like a sensory deprivation tank. I lose all track of time and space. So it's good to have the kiddies in front, because when I'm on board one of these ships, I'm called upon to do two very different kinds of shows. I'm called upon to do a family-friendly show, and I'm called upon to do a decidedly non-family-friendly show. So the children up front indicates to me which kind of show I'm supposed to be doing at that time. Kids are funny. Kids are strange. They see things differently than we do. There's a kid up front, one of the shows, he was 10 years old, he was 5'4". Yeah. I said, "Are you the biggest kid? Are you the biggest person in your class?" He said, "No, the teacher's bigger." You got me there. The strange things you buy in ports. This one kid comes up to me. He says, "See this shirt? I go out in the sun and it turns a different color." I said, "See this shirt? I wear it for 2 days or more, it starts to smell different." Take that, kid. Here we are in Las Vegas, Nevada, the strangest, most wonderful city on the planet. Things are different here. I just moved here. Yeah. People say, "Oh, you live in Las Vegas. Do you gamble a lot more?" No, but you gamble differently. For instance, you cannot buy a lottery ticket in the state of Nevada. So you can't play the lottery here. But you do things differently. You gamble differently. Like, for instance, now I buy meat at the dollar store. I love the dollar store. You know, there's a chain of dollar stores called Dollar General. which also sounds like a really bad hospital. Do not get the transplant at Dollar General. You get a CAT scan there, they use a real cat. I pulled into a place called Family Dollar. There was a big old ugly family in the parking lot having an argument. I couldn't help but overhear. Turns out one of them forgot to bring the family dollar. Nothing will put a crimp in your shopping day like that. There was a place called, around my house called Everything's a Dollar. So one day I walked in, put $1 down on the counter. Don't get ahead of me. Put $1 down on the counter, back the truck, up to the front. Boom! Loaded everything in. Went back in and said, you should have called it each thing's $1. I paid attention in English class. I am now the proud owner of a truckload of crap from China. I got it on a technicality. Thinking of starting my own dollar store now. Thinking of calling it crap from China. Or maybe each thing's $1. I paid attention in English class. I saw one dollar store I went to had doggy ice cream. This is a pointless product. Doggy ice cream. They already have ice cream for dogs. It's called ice cream. It's good enough for me, it's good enough for the dog. It's not like he's got a waistline to worry about. He's not even wearing pants. So now Las Vegas is home to the world's tallest Ferris wheel. Only they don't call it a Ferris wheel. No, they call it an observation wheel. Who named this? Observation wheel. Sounds like something you avoid at the doctor. Take off your pants and have a seat on the observation wheel. 55 stories tall. Just what you want to be in the middle of the Nevada desert, 550 feet closer to the sun. 550 feet tall, it takes 30 minutes for one complete rotation. They call it the high roller. I like to call it the rotisserie. What's that smell? Barbecue sauce. Get in. Don't ask questions. Things happen in Las Vegas that can't happen anywhere else. Give you an example. I was out last weekend. I was out till about 3 a.m. Drove home. Got up the next day. Came out to my car. There were feathers in the grill. I said, feathers in the grill? Oh, I must have hit a bird or a showgirl. I was at a place where people were drinking martinis, or so they claimed. These drinks they were drinking had plenty of exotic ingredients, things like chocolate liqueur and coconut juice, and funny little names like coconutini and chocolatini. This is an abomination. Where I come from, a martini's a martini. It's got three ingredients: gin, vermouth, olive, and cinnamon. But I figure, why fight it? I've come up with my own idea for a new martini. You know that juice in the bottom of the hot dog pack? Stay with me. Thinking of calling it a Marwini. Or maybe a weenie teeny. You see this a lot in the casinos. You see a gorgeous girl accompanied by her two somewhat less gorgeous girlfriends. I like to call that change for a 20. It's a 10 and 2 5s. It's cruel and unusual. This is what I do for a living. A lot of people can't grasp this concept. I'm having trouble with it right now, actually. You'll see me do a show that'll ask me strange questions. So, you have to travel. Well, I haven't figured out a way to get the crowds to come to my house. Traveling as I do, I have to take certain precautions. I think you know what I'm talking about. That's right. I got the flu shot. Let me tell you, I highly recommend the flu shot. The flu shot has changed my life. I am licking handrails. I am kissing strange babies. I am sucking on elevator buttons. It is awesome. What floor was that? 5? I'll get it for you. It's okay, I got the flu shot. Yet I still managed to get a sinus infection. How does that work? So the doctor prescribed me some antibiotics. I was taking Avalox. Avalox. Sounds scary, Avalox. Sounds futuristic, Avalox. Sounds like something they give you on Star Trek. Then I got to look at the info sheet they give you at the pharmacy. Turns out the generic name for Avalox is moxifloxacin. Yeah. Not so scary now, is it? All these drugs have 2 names now. They got the Star Trek name, they got the Dr. Seuss name. I finally found my Roboxacin. It was in the same drawer that my socks was in. I do not like green eggs and ham. I will not take diazepam. It says right here on the back of the box, it interacts with Avalox. So I was at the drugstore, I was at the CVS. Kind of a long line. I started to get a little annoyed. Normally I'm a patient, even-tempered person. But there was only one register going. Eventually, a second employee, an old lady, she hops behind the counter. She fires up register 2. She looks right at me and she says, I can take you. I dropped her with one punch. She never had a chance. She went down hard. Somebody had to teach her that such overconfidence is unbecoming in a woman her age. And I am just the man to do it. I got a flat tire last week. I did what anybody with a flat tire would do, right? I took my car to the tire store, dude. I figured this is going to be a pretty straightforward transaction. I have a flat tire. He's the tire store dude. No, it doesn't work that way apparently anymore. No, I limp in there. What does he do? He grabs a clipboard. He brushes past me. Goes out in the parking lot. Walks around my car 3 or 4 times with this awful look on his face. Comes back into the showroom with his little clipboard. Starts to give me a lecture. Sir, are you aware that tire is the wrong size? Well, right now I'm more concerned it's the wrong shape. Let me put this in terms you can understand, Dr. Firestone. That tire used to be shaped like an O. Now it's shaped more like a D. Make it round once again, Professor Goodyear. I'll be out of your way. I need round tires. That's how I roll. Got to use the lingo. Went to the Timberland outlet with my wife. We bought a pair of boots. I brought them up the counter. Gave the gal behind the counter my credit card. She fires up the register. She looks at me and she says, I'm going to need your phone number. I said, hello, this is my wife. She can hear you. Beware the hussies at Timberland. They're very forward. I had dinner at a restaurant last night. Halfway through the meal, I had occasion to use the men's room. Small sign next to the wash basin said, employees must wash hands. Well, I'll be darned if I'm going to wait for some employee to come in and wash my hands. I waited for a while. When no employee was forthcoming, I washed them myself. I am nothing if not law-abiding, which is tough when you travel like I do. Hard to keep track of local laws and regulations. Give an example. Walking across the street in Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix cop car swoops down on me. Cop gets out and says, hey, in Arizona we call that jaywalking. I said, hey, where I come from, walking doesn't have a first name. They got a real nice jail there in Phoenix. I was out of there in days. I was driving out of Reno, headed for the airport, got pulled up by a Nevada state trooper. Gave me a ticket for $190, $190 for unsafe lane change. Took that ticket home, showed it to a friend of mine who's an attorney. I said, is there anything I can do with this? He said, yes, there is. Here's what we do. This is good advice, free legal advice for any of us should we find ourselves in a similar situation. He said, write a letter to the city of Reno. Tell them you're sorry. Tell them you'll never do it again. Ask if you can plead to a lesser offense. He He said, they'll probably knock money off the ticket. They won't put any points in your license. Well, I did it, and it worked. They knocked the ticket down to $100. I pled guilty to attempted murder. Hey, I got to register every time I leave town, but hey, my insurance rates are not going up. And I didn't have to talk to that lizard. Thank you very much. My name is Brian McKim. Good night.